All right, welcome back. Put on the list. This one's going to be a doozy. Bro, Francisco, what do we got this week?
We are doing the best of the year. Yeah.
Yes, we are, sir. I'm excited, man. I think we just need to jump in because this might turn into a long one, and let's try to avoid another fucking 90-minute episode. All right, what do you say?
Sounds good. It's because you got a lot of hot air that comes out of your mouth.
Correct, hot air, motherfucker. Someone's got to fucking. Anyways, I'm excited to hear your piece of shit takes. All right, what do you say?
I say, let's start the show. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Good. You surviving the holidays?
I'm by inches, as they say. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's just been I don't know. It's like tears of joy. Man, kids are hard, man. Kids are hard. Yeah, so I mean they're not hard, but it's a lot. And then like when you work full time and stuff like that, and it's like, hey dad, let's go fucking conquer the world. I'm like, all right, give me a fucking break. Let me drink some water. Let me drink some water, and then we'll fucking get our armor on, and we'll go out there and conquer the world. But it's fun. But it's exhausting. And it's funny because when I hear all my parents out there, that you guys know what I'm talking about. When we hear people that don't have kids and talking about they're tired, we're like, fuck off. So, there's levels. I'm just going to say there's levels.
Oh, sure.
Like I remember her.
When you're as old as you are, everything like hurting, I'm sure. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm an old dad, too. I waited till the fucking clock was ticking midnight. And I mean, yeah, it's been an experience. And it's like I'm talking like my kids are like newborns and shit. But yeah, but it was fun. Like the best part is when they open presents and and they're like they get like super excited and hype and they're like, you got exactly what I wanted. And be like, cause I know you little menace. And when you say no to me when I ask you to pick your shit up, but here I am buying your stuff. And you say no to me when I tell you to put your towel away. And you're like, not right now. And I'm like, how dare you? Your life depends on me. And you're just going to say no to me to pick your shit up? Little assholes. Here's some presents. I spoil you. But, man, this week though, man, I've been thinking about this episode for a few weeks. And I remember I was messaging you. I was like, hey, we got to start thinking about our best of the year.
Yeah, you thought we were going to do this last week. I'm like, dude, we don't have time. We got to do this separate episode completely. And I started my list like a week or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed my finger and I put it in and I was like planting the seed. Get your shit together, son.
Yeah, I thought it'd be easier than this. This shit was not easy. I had to go back to my old choices and start lining things up again and start re-ranking. I'm like, how do I?
Yeah.
Let's just get into the chit chat of this show of the best of right now. To try to rank this stuff, man. I was I had to go back and then I had to like reorder. And then I was kind of wondering, thinking to myself, like, is it like the more recent nostalgia? Because I started ranking the stuff that I've watched recently higher all of a sudden than the stuff from the first half of the year. And I was like, is it just because it's more recent? Like, what is like the nostalgia? Like, what is my change? Because I remember some of this stuff like I loved. Like I ranked like really high going in, like at the halfway point of the show or the year. And then one of them I totally forgot about. And I was like, this is one of my top ones. And I didn't remember that one. And then I started to like having to revisit and rethink and think it through and re-rank. And I'm like, man, dude, 12 months is a long time for how many times did I get hit in the feels and then, since then and other things just come in and are like, get out of the way. Like the fucking bear shows up, and that thing was like just fucking pile driving everyone. Bow, bow, bow. And like, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was so hard.
It's funny. I had like the the opposite feel. Like when I was looking at my old stuff, and I'm like, I'm like, nothing's breaking through that shit. Like, you know, like there was like the way like some of the early shows made me feel the first half. And I'm like, man, these are like perfect, you know, or like, you know, pretty close to being like, you know, up elite level, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, when I wrote out the big list, and I was like, well, it looks like the second half of the year is like the bottom half, but you know, but then, you know, I started thinking about single episodes and this and that, and it's like, and how I felt during it while I was watching, and I was like you, like, and then last minute I was like, holy crap, I totally forgot about this one show, and I'm like, that show was like, it's probably one of the best seasons of it, you know, and it's crazy how much good shit was out, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, it was a
And
banger
for
year.
the movies, yeah, for the movies, um, there's a lot of stuff that we watched that was kind of like mediocre, and there was
my
not as
movie
many
list was not.
standouts.
There was one standout, and then there was a level down from there, and then from like 3 or 4, like it just kept dropping like exponentially quick. And I was like,
Yeah,
geez, like this was not like the film for. This wasn't the year for films. This is the year for shows, which is
yeah.
wild. But
I ended
let's
up
talk
with
about
a pretty.
yeah.
Let me see. Let me tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ended up with my movie list on my long list was 9 movies, and then I would say that 5, no, 4 of those movies are definitely going to be elite rewatchable. Like I would buy the Blu-rays of all these.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And there was 5, 4. No, yeah, 5.
My final
Like,
list of films is 11. I had to narrow that down to
yeah,
5. That was tough.
yeah,
I'm still debating between like 2 or 3 in my head. I'm like, oh, they're gonna squeeze in. I don't know. It's still a live
yeah,
battle in the back of my head. I haven't
yeah.
I chose my top 3, but my last like
Mm-hmm.
4 or 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but yeah, it's tough, right? I don't like it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely tough. And you like,
Let's
you know,
get
when people are like making this, some of this stuff is like great content or like great, you know, art and stuff. So you don't want to be like dismissive of any of it.
No, we're gonna give shout outs to everything. We're gonna give our top 5, and then we're gonna do shout outs to all the stuff that we super dog. For one reason or
Mm-hmm.
another. Don't matter. It made performances. And at the very end, we're going to give our shout outs to, the best films of the year or our best moments. But all right, here we go. Real quick, letdowns. We talked about this. This is a very quick one. What were some of your
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
letdowns of the year? Because I have 2, and I think they're both almost the same as yours.
Yeah, I have two too, and my first big letdown was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part
Yeah.
1.
Yep.
I'm like, damn. I was like, it was like too long, and it lost its way. Like, I don't know, like it could have gone through, like maybe it got over rewritten, you know, and it's like things were misplaced and stuff, and it was like at the beginning of the movie, it was a hot mess. Like, what are we doing? It's confusing. And
It wasn't
so yeah,
exciting.
so yeah, no, yeah, like, and it was like, oh, it's the end of the movie, 2.5 hours later. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's over.
There's no moments of like, oh shit,
Yeah,
oh, you know what I mean? Like Fallout has so
yeah,
many. Like they just had moments of excitement and
yeah,
like concern, and I was like, there was thrills. Like this one didn't have any of that. It was like very flat.
yeah.
The thing is, like, it's not a bad movie. It's just not. It just doesn't like exist in that same world as like Fallout and Ghost Protocol. You know what I mean? I'm like weird.
Yeah.
Like it didn't quite fit. Like I saw what they were trying to do, and I mean, I give it a pass because of the COVID shutdowns and like they rewrote it, recast it a couple of
Mm,
times. So I'm like, all right, let's see
yeah.
what this next one's gonna be, make or break, because this is all you guys at this point. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I got it. I got another disappointment.
What's that?
This is a simple one. The fact that they pulled Dune from the release schedule from November,
Mm,
that was a huge disappointment. And I'm like, oh come
mm-hmm,
on. Um, those are like my only 2 real big disappointments I could think of. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a bummer, but go ahead.
Yeah, my other disappointment was like I wanted it to be more because I wanted it to be like a Hall of Fame thing, like the Exorcist True Believer. I wanted it to be like a Hall of Fame horror movie, you know, like without doubt that shit is scary, and it had like sparks of it, like, and some of it was like, oh shit, you braced yourself. But overall, I found it to be like a little bit. I mean, it was a letdown. You know, I wanted more. Like going from holy shit, the scariest movie of my life, and when I was a kid, you know, to like, oh shit, they're gonna make a new one. I'm so excited, and then try to recapture some of that. It kind of was not there. It didn't get to those levels. Yeah. So. Yeah, and like, I mean, some of the acting was really good, and I liked some of the mythology that they try to use and stuff, but some of it was just like, what the fuck? Just, I don't know. So, but, they're going to make another one that's supposed to be like a trilogy, so we'll see. They got 3 shots, I guess. But, so it was a little bit of a letdown.
All right, moving past that. Yeah. Any other final comments on anything? Should we just jump into the films? Oh, you know what? Okay, here's a quick shout out though. This is the last thing I wanted to do. Things that came out previously to this year that made an impact on me this year. There was 2, and I was like, shit. I wish I had watched them a couple of years ago. The first one was watching a film on Hulu that you recommended. I can't believe you did something right. Underwater, that Kristen Stewart film. That film is so cool. Like it's so well shot. It feels you're claustrophobic. It's scary. You're in the dark. You're just underwater. I mean, it looks amazing. The designs are awesome, and you have to like move from place to place to place. It never stopped, and like the amount of like threat is just surrounding you 24/7. You're like, God damn, and it just starts. Like that film is so good. Like that thing's rewatchable. Like it's just There's nothing really like cheeseball or anything that'll take you out of it. It just go, 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 go. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Super dug it. So there was that one. A movie I just
I'm glad you got off your fucking, that Andres came down from the fucking mountain of elitist assholeness and came down here and be like, oh, there's okay. Yeah. Good job.
I guess. Thanks, motherfucker. Anyway, shithead. The other one, other film I just watched this week on Netflix, it just dropped. Love and Monsters came out, I think a year or 2 ago. And we just watched it this week. That film is fantastic. It's on Netflix. Definitely. Dude, you could probably watch it with your daughter. I think she might be okay.
I've seen it before. It had a run on Hulu, so when it came out and stuff. So, yeah.
And as you showed up on Netflix, I was like, this is fun. This is way better than I thought it was going to be. Like, photography.
Everything just shows up on Netflix, man. Netflix is a monster right now.
It just vacuums it all up. You got a thing. We got money. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was on Paramount that came out last year. The Offer, the making of the Godfather show. That's a pretty damn fantastic show. Like the look and the feel and the you're in there. You're in like the 60s, 70s, and you're making this thing. You're like, woo! Like it's like the actors are all fantastic. It's just a fun, cool show. And if you like The Godfather, I'm surprised you haven't watched it. Like watching that film, Christina's like, we gotta watch.
I did watch it. Again. I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes.
I'm surprised you didn't finish it.
Yeah, well, there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
but guess what? Look at you. Look at you, fucking trying things. What do you know? Be like, if you try things and you might like things. Isn't that a funny fucking concept? Weird. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know.
Getting past that. Should we start on the movie? We got to jump in here. We're taking too long yapping.
All right. Remember that hot air comment is kicking in.
Oh, here we go. All right, we should start.
So we're gonna go with movies or
movies.
All right, from 5 to 1.
Yes, and here's the thing: we'll do shout outs. But the thing we should definitely say ahead of time, like I did not watch Flowers of the Killer's Moon yet because it's not available really. So just don't get upset. And I'll just say that, and then we'll go from here. I'm curious.
That's probably the biggest omission. Oh, and I didn't watch Maestro, but come on, Maestro. But and they're just kidding. It's probably great.
There's a film that I pretty much hated, and I'm curious if it's going to make your top 5 now. So curious.
Ooh.
The mystery. The mystery.
The mystery. Right. It probably won't. I don't know. You don't watch anything, so I don't know.
All right. I gotta look at my list now. Go ahead. Fire away. What's your number 5?
Number 5 is a hot take, I think, because most people are not going to have this high. But I enjoy this movie thoroughly. You can nitpick it or whatever, but I am going with The Creator. The Creator made my top 5 with John David Washington, written and directed, I think, by Tony Gilroy. And
no, it was Tony Gilroy is the guy who took over for Gareth Edwards on Rogue One.
Oh, Gareth Edwards.
By Gareth Edwards and shot.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
The same cinematographer as Rogue One. He also shot Dune, the Dune film.
Yeah,
that's why it's a good look.
This movie's gorgeous. Movie's gorgeous. And John David Washington did a great job, and just the theme of the movie and everything. I was like, the whole AI thing, and I'm like, I've been scared of AI since the Terminator. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're still fucking with it. I'm like, why are we still? I'm like, of course they dropped the nuke on us. Of course they did. What else are they gonna do? Like the first 10 minutes, like, hey, I dropped the nuke on in Los Angeles. Question mark. Fucking dumb. We're so dumb, bro. We're so dumb. Stop kicking the robots. Stop kicking the robots. Anyways, and there were some brutal deaths, man. They were some brutal deaths in this. And then I don't know if it was like a daughter-dad thing, because the relationship between John David Washington and the ultimate weapon to take out humanity and stuff is like this little AI person. And it's like, oh my God, she's so cute. And then she started crying, and I'm like, oh my God, her cheeks just look like Zenaina's cheeks. I can't do it. No, Dios mío, please save her. And so yeah, I had to do a big old softy here. I had to do it. The Creator.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna read my number 5 pick of the year. A little film called The Creator. I shit you not.
Wow, I didn't even know you watched it. You said you were gonna get to it, but I didn't know you got to it. That's cool.
Yeah, I got to it yesterday.
Oh, good.
I was thoroughly impressed and thoroughly happy that I got to watch this film, and it was like the shit. It was like seriously, it was seriously fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
I mean the cinematography, the designs, the environments, the ideas. Like, you were in it was dirty. You know what I mean? It was like the future. It was like future dirty tech AI. How the machines were moving and running. Like that one scene where like man, it's funny how like the Americans are kind of the bad guys here. How they had that little R2D2 robot with legs, and they would just push a button, they would arm it as a bomb, and he would just run towards you. Like, oh,
damn, that was crazy, like, huh? Kamikaze.
Who thought of this weapon? That's an evil weapon. You know what I mean? Like these guys have some like, I got an idea. Let's make a robot with a bomb with legs. It just runs like a linebacker and just explodes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
nothing can take it out. Yeah.
And like, it was brutal. And the guns that they used would shoot like 12-foot holes in you. And I'm like, Jesus. Ken Watanabe was awesome. Also in the film, like the designs are so cool. I think it went on a little too long here and there. There's plenty of little nitpicks, but overall the look, the feel, the idea, the execution. Of course, I mean, this one was I would watch this no problem. Like there's so many cool stuff in these things. I'm like, damn, this was badass. And like,
what was that one big ship called? Remember the
Nomad.
Nomad. It would have been great if they were like done like a Star Wars ending where like cut to them building another Nomad or like a fleet of Nomads and shit. And as the ending, be like, oh shit, it's not over.
I mean, they made like the AI robots like they humanized them, and they humanized the people around them, and like they're a family, and you could see like people crying and robots like taking care of kids, and like the kids crying when a robot would get shot. I'm like, geez, like it gets like
when they go into the village and they're interrogating the like, where's the opening to the secret thing, and like, dude, I was getting like Vietnam flashbacks and shit, like some fucking casualties of war shit. I'm like, please leave this kid alone. Don't touch the kid. And it's like, oh, you want this? You like this dog? The dog? And it's like, what the fuck? It was gnarly, man. I was like, it's super intense.
It was gnarly. So, but I was like, damn, this is just punching above its weight. I wish I'd seen this in theaters.
Yeah, me too. Look at you. You picked one right.
Oh my God. Here we go. We're going to be battling. We're going to get the top one or two together. Other than that, I think we're going to be separate. All right, here we go. Number 4. What's your number 4?
Number 4. I didn't tell you this, but your boy went to watch the Iron Claw last night. And it's my numero 4 movie.
Just like that.
And just like that. And yeah, man, it's so good. So good. It looked it looked beautiful. Yeah, man. Zac Efron was great. Everybody was great. The dad, something Holt, I think is his name. I can't remember his name, but he's like one of those guys that's been around. He was in that Mindhunter show with David Fincher. He plays one of the agents. Man, that guy's relentless, bro. Like his ideology and stuff are like, you just gotta be tough, you know? And it's like, man, like Zac Efron did a great job of portraying the love that he had for his brothers and stuff. And just basically losing everything, dude. And it was crazy. And again, bro, your boy's a softie, because I was in there and there was a part towards the end where I was like, oh, damn, they're coming out without me. And without the tears are coming out. And then I was like, there was like 20 people in the theater, and this one lady decides to sit on the same row as me. I'm like, lady, you could have had your own row. Now I got to be like, I'm sucking on a straw with tears coming out of me at the same time. And I'm like pretending I ain't crying and shit. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I just let them bitches air dry, man. Cause I wasn't going to touch my face. Cause I'm like, I'm not going to be crying in the movie, in the theater by myself, writing solo. And like, this lady ruined it. I could have just be like, but man, it was some, and I remember some of those things, man. And the guy, there was like I'm a big wrestling fan, you know, so like I recognized like 99% of the names that they threw out there. I'm like, oh, I remember that, and I remember that, and all that. You know, like it was like I was young, and I just came to the United States, and we started watching American wrestling, and I remember watching the Von Erichs and Ric Flair and Michael Hayes and the Freebirds, and man, it was like nostalgia and like some sad, beautiful storytelling.
I'm excited to watch it. I have not watched it yet. It'll probably be big shout out for next year. I'll review it. We'll talk about it more next year when it comes out and I can watch it. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm so glad you got to check it out.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
Number 4. This is, again, this was, could be interchangeable, some of these. I mean, but this film kind of like took me by surprise. Like this film totally took me by surprise. And I also love animated films. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Out of the Ooh, or whatever it's called. That film was so much fun. The energy, the freshness, the music, the cuts, the creativity, the storytelling. Like, I mean, I grew up on Ninja Turtles, so it was cool. And this is like a slightly different approach to them, and it totally worked. And it's just like an absolutely enjoyable film. I'm like, damn, they nailed it. And not surprised because the same director who directed Mitchell's versus the Machines. So I'm like, duh. But this film was just fucking solid, really fucking enjoyable, good. And we went all about this film already. So I don't know what to say. The movie's awesome.
Yeah. This one, it was in my shoutouts. But yeah, cool. I love this movie too.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 3? All right.
Numero 3. I just rewatched it recently, like maybe 3 days ago. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I love it more now. I went to watch it in the theater, and I took kids, right? And Zenaida's a little sad face when they had the tortured animals and stuff, and she was looking at me like, "Why did you bring me here, you monster?" And I'm like, dude, I didn't know they were gonna have that. I didn't know. I thought they were gonna be funny raccoons the whole time.
That that film was in my in one of my contenders for sure. Like, damn. But yeah, that film was.
Yeah, have you rewatched it?
Not yet. I know personally, I think it's one of the best
It's
Marvel films
better
in the last few years.
Like, yeah, it's better than the first time I watched it, and I watched it in the theater.
And it was the only movie Marvel made in the last like 2 years that even made money, which was like surprising. Like, fuck.
It was beautiful, man, and there was some good music, and then it was a good way to close out this story between them. And then, like, when they said, like, the whole time, when they're like, "Oh, Rocket, the whole time this story's been about you," and you're like, you go back and like you watch it with that frame of mind, you know, you're like, oh man, yeah, and like all these side characters and stuff, and it was great. It was great. No complaints. The villain was villainous, like you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so
it makes me even more excited for the DC stuff that James Gunn's now gonna do. Like he nailed.
He's gonna put some heart in it.
He nailed it. So I'm like, yes. Yeah. All right. My number 3. This was like I was just debating. I'm like stuff that was surprising and got me feeling, and I was like, things I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. And this film, man, this film kind of like showed up, and I was like, huge props. I'm like, damn, that was fucking. You could debate and pick little things here and there, and we even kind of debated like some of the ending, like what did it mean exactly? But the film is No One Will Save You. I was thoroughly impressed by that film. I thought the photography was cool, the scariness bit, and I'm like, this film is just really, really good. And I super appreciated it, and I couldn't stop watching it, man. When I was watching, like, shit, this is fantastic. So yeah, No One Will Save You, and the fact that like 80% of the film had no dialogue. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge feat. I was so into. I couldn't believe how much I actually dug it.
Yeah, no, yeah, man, and like the girl did a great job. I mean, she's been around, and and like it was funny, like they keep sending different aliens to try to take her out, and she just kept whooping their ass. This is a great choice. I totally forgot about that one.
I just super dug it. I mean, yeah. But go ahead. All right, what's your number? Were you on number 2 already?
Yeah, number 2, bro. Here we go.
Yeah,
it's Mr. John Wick 4. Got to do it.
Ooh.
This movie's amazing. It's amazing. It's got some crazy. It's got some legendary freaking fight scenes, coordination, blah blah blah. Bro, I can't help it. It's like I can't like. How do you rank these John Wick movies? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, like okay, like you watch one, you're like, oh, that was amazing, and then you watch another one, you're like, damn, they did it again. They did that 4 times, bro. They just kept upping this shit up, and it's like, how do you do that? And, dude, I
have a feeling I can grab all 4 of them and edit a whole new movie out of all those movies at this point, because there's like so much, and it would still like be kick ass.
Oh yeah, it's consistent. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can totally do that.
And at 3 hours, I think it was too long for 3 hours, but the fact that they were able to keep up that level for 3 hours,
like, of excitement and stuff, it's like, yeah. Oh man, I loved it. And just like getting deeper and deeper into the lore of it, I loved it. So yeah, John Wick 4. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, this was John Wick was in my shoutouts. I think the problem. I'll talk about that afterwards. I'm going to tell you the top 2, and then I'll tell you like things were canceling each other out. I'm like, oh, it was hard. Not as hard as the TV stuff though. But my number 2, and you're gonna fucking be like, eat shit. My number 2 was something that was really high on the ranking of the first year of the list. Was Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. I just had a ball watching it. I think we watched it 3 times. I love the fact that it's fast, it's hilarious, it's really
1 ball, 2 balls.
Like so many parts were so funny. The effects, and it looked really good. Like it was very clever. Some of the designs from like some of the action sequences, and I was like, we've never seen that before. That's a first. That's a cool idea. Hugh Grant's a fucking crazy person. Like this is like all these little things just kept happening. I'm like, this is like 10 times more enjoyable than I expected. And we watched it like 3 times. I said by now because you just want to watch something fun, easy going, hilarious action shit, great designs, looked fantastic.
Yeah,
this is the film. And I was like, damn. Again. So I had to put it up there because of the sheer enjoyment factor. Like this was like a spectacle, fun thing, and I'm like, you know what? It's sticking up there. It's still super watchable, and I appreciated that. So yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. It's on Paramount now. Still,
you should have did your hot take right there. That was like, oh, here's a hot take. Yeah,
what's a hot
and
take?
Unless you make like a crazy left turn, we have the same number one, I think, because I don't know, man. But
I was 99% sure we had the same number one. There's like I just again, I think everything else is like one or two levels below. Like, just say it.
I don't
just
know, man.
Say it.
God, my list is amazing. Your list is a little wishy-washy, but dude, creator, Iron Claw, Guardians, John Wick 4, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
It's like my list. Hey guys, watch my list. Don't watch Andres' list. Or watch his list second.
My list is fun. I'm trying to just lighten it up. Like, I think I value like.
How is my list not fun? The creator, Iron Claw.
That's a
we got
dark
some
movie. Iron Claw. You're gonna be crying your asses. You cried your
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Also cried your balls off.
John Wick, but there's like jokes.
Cried your balls off. And I think
I cried every time he went down the stairs. I was like, not again. Those are some left stairs. Like, because I know, like, me climbing some stairs is some shit. So he's got to do that all the time, over and over again. But Spider-Man Across the Universe, Across the Spider-Verse,
Across the Spider-Verse. The film,
they did it again.
It's so good. Like, it's so good. And I think that film is, for me, at least levels above everything else.
Yeah,
like one or two steps. I'm like, it's just like my jaw was in the ground for like almost the entire movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, wow.
And it's like, and they left it like on a cliffhanger, and I fucking hate when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel this about this cliffhanger the same way I felt about Kill Bill when they then the Kill Bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how if there's gonna be a cliffhanger, this is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You just want them. Because some cliffhangers, like that Matrix cliffhanger, didn't work. When they went from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And but this one worked. So yeah, man, this movie, like, no complaints. I just, I've also rewatched this. So I've rewatched, 3 of the movies. My top 3 movies I've rewatched. The other ones, I just watched them recently, so I haven't had a chance. So yeah, man.
It was rough.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So you got, name your top 5 again.
Okay. 5, I got The Creator. 4, I got Iron Claw. 3, I got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. At 2, I got John Wick 4. And at numero uno, I got Spider-Man.
Cool. Yeah, mine's
Across the Spider-Verse.
Number 4, Ninja Turtles. Number 3 is No One Will Save You. Number 2, Dungeons and Dragons. And number 1, Spider-Verse.
All right.
Shout outs. I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I had Guardians of the Galaxy, John Wick, and Blue Beetle, kind of like in a similar area of just like big enjoyment, crazy. I think yes, both John Wick and Guardians are a couple steps above Blue Beetle, but they kind of almost like. But then they were in contention for number 5. But then fucking Creator showed up and like a couple days ago and just knocked them out, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my shout out ones. Flaming Hot on Hulu was one of my shout outs. Definitely Blue Beetle. Air gets a big shout out. That was pretty good. I thought it could have been better though. And the other one that was my other big shout out that was directly competing with No One Will Save You. I had to choose. I was like, this one or this one for like more scary survival thing is Scream 6. The latest Scream film was really good, and I was like, this is punching way above its weight. And so those are some of my shout outs. What you got for shout outs? Okay.
For shout outs, I got good ones. I got Barbie. I got Oppenheimer. I got Wonka. I got Talk to Me. And I got The Killer. You got all these movies. Yeah, so yeah. And also Leave the World Behind. That was pretty good too.
Ooh, I gotta check that out still.
But yeah,
I did.
You didn't fuck. I would thought you were gonna put Barbie on there, and Wonka was right there. But again, The Creator was just,
I would give Barbie a shout out. I don't know how like rewatchable it would be compared to some of these other films, but I mean, I would totally watch it again.
And no Oppenheimer, huh?
I watched it. I fucking mostly hated it.
Mostly hated it.
Mostly hated it. I have so many things to say about that film. I'm like, oh. Anyways, we'll talk. We'll do a deep dive next episode because I'm trying to like contain myself right now with how angry I was with that movie. I'm like, oh, this film's, oh my God. It felt like 9 hours. I'm like, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Oh,
all right.
Can we stop? Can we stop time jumping? 2 hours of time jumping? And what the fuck? Anyways. Ugh. Hated it. Anyways.
Andres climbing back up the hill to the elite mountain.
Yeah, I hated it. All right.
All right. So that's
all right.
Movies.
Moving on. Yeah.
Moving on
this is going to be a good one. Shows. This was a fantastic fucking year. This was impossible tough.
Impossible tough. I don't know. We might have one. I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Oh, dude.
I'm going to start.
I want to. Before, go ahead. Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Jump in. I forgot to mention something at the beginning of the show, but that's fine. We'll talk about it afterwards. All right. Go ahead.
I had number 5. I got What We Do in the Shadows.
It was another banner year. They just announced next year is the last year for it.
Yeah.
Like, but at least they know what they're doing. They're going out on their own terms. So I'm guessing it's going to be next fall. It'll show up again. But man, this season was hilarious. Like, there are some episodes
they don't miss.
Pissing my pants.
For sure. Yeah, man, it was amazing. Yeah. So what's your? I don't really have anything to say. It's just hilarious. Watch it. Everybody does an amazing job. What do you got? Number 5.
These were so hard. These were like neck and neck, and I could be convinced of either way. I don't know. You know what I mean? This was like, there was only like 2 or 3 that I was like 100% going on the list. And these other ones were like fighting it out. And okay, number 5, the last season of Marvelous Miss Maisel. I had it at number 2 last year or earlier. And it still sticks. The ending and the journey and how they pulled it all off and the emotional impact and like what she does in the last episode, like it just fucking landed that fucking plane. And I was like, shit, this still hits. This still hits. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And it's not all 100% happiness, which is also a cool thing that they kind of demonstrate. But I mean, fuck, the show's good. And so that was my number 5, Marvelous Miss Maisel.
All right. I haven't finished it, but yeah, she's a lot of talky. But anyways, and that's like the part of the humor, I guess.
It's funny as shit, talky.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Numero 4. Here we go.
Yeah.
Beef. I got Beef at number 4. I love this show. It was like, it started as one thing and it transcended to something else. Into like a life rebirth affirmation shit. I don't know,
it's super introspective and like spoilers, but I mean, watch Beef number 1, number 2. They had to go to like a different plane of reality to kind of accept life and reality. It was like, dude, and the layering of the story and the progression of the story and how, and like even the time it takes place over like what 6 to 8 months or something. Like things just kind of start happening and they cool down, and they flame up again. You're just like, and finally, like, and when it accumulates them like in the desert and like at the compound, like I'm just like, what the fuck?
And then it's just like, and it could have been totally a predictable show, and like it just kept, when you thought they were gonna go right, they went left, and when you thought they was gonna go straight, they made a U-turn, and it's like, and they did that the whole time, man. It's amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I got it at number 4.
I didn't think I was gonna like it. I'm like, this sounds like a stupid gimmicky thing, but I think when I got around to the second episode, and I've noticed like it's more than just a gimmick. Like they're kind of structuring it really cleverly. So I'm really digging it.
So Beef was my number 4. What's your number 4, bud?
Number 4, which was really high on my list earlier, and it's still staying on the list, but I think there's some other strong contenders. It's because, well, we'll talk about it. Anyways, Ted Lasso, last season. It wasn't the most perfect season, but it landed the plane so well, and I felt it. I'm like, damn, this is good. We went back and rewatched most of the season, and there's some misses here and there, but overall, it's like fucking good. So I was like super happy. You felt stuff. You felt a lot. It had a great closure. Ted Lasso, man. Season 3, it's over. At least that story is now over. That's my number 4.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's good. That's on my shout outs. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 3, another Apple show, Shrinking. I love Shrinking. Yeah. It was just like, this is something that you love to say, and I'm always like, God damn, he said it again. But you like a warm blanket, warm blanket. Well, this is my warm blanket, man. It was just like, oh, I need something to make me feel good inside, and be like, like it had its drama, but it's like at the end of it, it had heart, and it just wants to be people to be happy. You know what I'm saying? So I got Shrinking at number 3, and like everybody has a great performance. Harrison Ford, he's alive. You know what I'm saying? He did a great job. And then what's her name? Williams,
Jessica Williams.
Jessica Williams, yeah, she's great, man. I'm like, can I get more of her in my life? Can I get your number? Anyways, yeah, man, and Jason Segel was great. The Neighbors, Mr. Darcy, fucking just zingers left and right, just owning that shit, dude. It was such a show I didn't know that I needed, but it just made me feel really cozy inside, and it was like a warm blanket, like how your ass likes to say. So I got Shrinking at numero 3.
All right. My number 3, a little film called The Blue-Eye Samurai.
Little show, yeah.
Huge, shocking, amazing, what? Show, like, I've never heard of it. And then, buddy of ours, Mike, if you're listening, shout out. Told us, maybe you should check out this show. The trailer's coming out, like, tomorrow. Dude, this show just showed up, like, seemingly out of nowhere. It's probably in production for years and years. But, man, it's gorgeous. Like, the animation was gorgeous. The production design was gorgeous. The action cinematography was, like, kick fucking ass. It was like Kill Bill and just gorgeous. And it never stopped. It just kept going and going and building. And I figured, okay, it's just a revenge show. But then I figured it was just a show about revenge, but it goes into all sorts of like commentary on society and class and just how rough it is, like when women like getting screwed over in that world back then, and then a whole bunch of people get chopped in half. The show, it's just so good, and the emotional beats hit harder than I expected. I'm like, dude, what? I don't know if it was just because it's all rolled into one, or because it's unexpected, or just because it was plain awesome. Blue-Eyed Samurai, man, I loved it. I loved it. Like this, I could totally watch it again. And I think this ranked higher than Ted Lasso for me because each episode was like solid and good and building. There was no like weak links. Every episode was very different. And it was just like shit, kind of unexpected. Like, we're gonna do what in the brothel? Like, she's got like a ninja clan trying to break into the brothel now. Like, what the shit? So many cool things. Like, it's just, I can't even. There's too much to talk about. We talked about it already. But yeah, that's my number 3. Yeah, Netflix, Blue-Eye Samurai.
Cool. Yeah, I really like the show. I mean, I had a couple of minor issues with it, but man, it was a great achievement, and the animation was amazing. Storytelling, the characters, like, dude, you wanted to like know more about the master sword maker. You know what I'm saying? And it was great, man. And then it was a little bit too much sex. I don't know if you watch. No, you fast forward through that shit. So yeah, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of sex in the show.
Quite a bit.
So it's a little.
It is not.
I feel
lacking.
like it felt a little gratuitous, and I'm like, it's like, oh man, animated gratuitous sex. I don't know, but anyways, it was a great pick. That was your number 3.
Number 3. What's your number 2?
All right, number 2, season 3 of A Reservation Dogs. I love this show.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, it was, and it's crazy because one of my friends, he's even like, he was upset that they made a season 3 because season 2 had a perfect ending. Like, it resolved everything that was there, but they came back into season 3, and season 3 kind of expanded on the world of that community and like just being Native American and how their way of life is, I guess, and how traditions need to live on. So, I related to that because, Mexicans have their own traditions and, things like that. And it was just nice to see it from other cultures. And they did a great job and it was really respectful. And all the actors and did an amazing job. I loved it.
I got to get back into it. I've been saying that for like 6 months now. But yeah.
Yeah. They're half-hour episodes. So it's like, they're not that long. But yeah. And they're all
super entertaining and heartfelt. Dope. It's on Hulu.
Yep. What do you got? Number 2.
Number 2, this was tough, but I think I did the right choices here. My number 2 is Last of Us. I super dug this show, and I can go a little bit more into it afterwards, but I mean, as far as like consistency and emotion and storytelling and acting and like design of everything and the pacing, I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. Like, it's so good. Christina was also like, she doesn't like zombie stuff and crazy stuff, but she loved it. So I'm like, that's how you know you do like zombies right.
Yeah, I agree. This is a shout out to me. I had it on my shout out. It was a hard cut actually because it was on the list. I was like, I crossed it off and I'm like, oh man, I forgot this show and I forgot that show. And it just barely missed the cut. But man, Pascal became a superstar after this. Yeah. And dude, it was a great show.
Yeah. I think rewatchability is also big on my things. Like I totally watch like all these shows pretty much again for the most part. Like it's cool.
Oh yeah. Definitely. My shows are definitely rewatchable. They're not like dependent on, they don't have a crutch. It's all story based. So so I'm looking forward to actually revisiting some of these.
Yeah.
All right. Time for number 1.
To what we already know what's coming for both of us, probably.
The Bear.
Dude,
yeah, man, the Bear season 2.
Champion 2 years in a row. I think last year I think I took Andor number 1, but the Bear was like number 2. It was like it was neck and neck.
Remember Andor? So good.
We gotta watch that again too sometime. I'm right there with you, Bear. Number 1. Like fire away, man.
Man, just like from the beginning, it was just like it was a different story, but it just expanded on the world and stuff, and it's just so smart, and it's like leading you down this path, and there's like crumbs they leave every episode. There's little crumbs that they lay out, and then at the end there's this giant payoff, and then there's like these crazy episodes that are like cinematic achievements, and we're lucky to have them. And the cast was amazing, man. Like, dude, I love the interactions between like what's that one guy, the big guy? He's actual chef. And they call him Frack. Was it Frack?
Oh, Fack. F-A-K.
Fack. I love the interaction. Everybody, he's like this big teddy bear guy, and it's like, I love you, man. I love you too. And they all, and then cousin, he's such an asshole, and he turns into somebody different, and it's like the evolution of his character is amazing and stuff. From in the beginning of the season where he like turns off Taylor Swift because I need a break. I love Taylor, but I need a break. To when and it's his episode, and then he's singing Taylor Swift to the top of his lungs and stuff, and it's like there's an evolution there and stuff, and I just love the way they did everything. Great season.
So good. Like it went places I didn't think it was going to go to. I love the pacing. Like you took side quests the whole show. Bounce. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then it bounces back all together, and it all comes together in this new thing. And you get to see the new dynamic of like how everyone kind of fits together. What's her name? Sheila, I think, was the sous chef that she jumped up to become like the sous chef to Sydney.
And her story, like when she goes to the bar, when you're like, she does the karaoke or karaoke, and you're like, oh man, you think she's gonna fall on her face, and she owns the moment, dude, and she got people on her like, yeah, everybody's got that moment of like, oh, is this gonna be cringy? And you kind of like make a fist and like, hopefully it's not. And she just fucking knocks it out of the park, just like her becoming the new sous chef and stuff. I mean, it was great. I loved it. And going from that person to in the first season when she was a fucking bee to everybody.
Evolution of everything is what you're kind of like cheering for and wanting to happen, and you're just like, yes. And then when in the last episode happens, and then like Richie has to step up, then all of a sudden you see some people kind of like go down a peg or two, and other people go up a peg or two, and then you see what happens to Carmi in the freezer. He definitely goes down several. You're just like, man, his journey is ultimately self-destruction, is how he sees himself, and I'm really hoping season 3 is him figuring out how to not self-destruct, because I mean, his brother. He's there because his brother self-destructed, and it's like you gotta get away from that. And then when you go back and see their past and understand like the self-destruction of their entire family almost at this point, you're just like, Jesus, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I get it. Like, how do you transcend your history or your DNA? Or is nuts. Like, that show's nuts, and I'm so excited for the third episode, third season coming soon.
Yeah, man. All right. I'm going to recap mine, and then we'll do yours, and then we'll go to the next part. All right. So my numero 5 is What We Do in the Shadows. Numero 4, Beef. Numero 3, Shrinking. Number 2, Reservation Dogs. Number 1, Bear. We only had one overlap. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many great shows, and we're going to do some shout outs in a minute. Number 5 for me was, damn it, Miss Maisel. Number 4 was Ted Lasso, season 3. Number 3 was Blue Eyed Samurai. Number 2 was Last of Us, and number 1 was The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get into the shout outs.
Yeah, shout outs. I got, man, I thought we were gonna do 10 on the list, so I actually have quite a few. So I mentioned Blue Eye Samurai, you had Ted Lasso. I have Succession, Silo, Special Ops, Lioness, and Last of Us, and the season finale of Loki.
I had definitely Silo. Silo got knocked down a couple pegs. That was hard because that show was awesome. I'm so excited for the next season. I got Beef. That also was like that. Was ranking high. I mean, again, you can talk me out of some of these ones and put Beef in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's that good. It's just it's all the ones that the feels that I had from like 7 months ago, 8 months ago aren't there as much as the ones that I just watched recently. So I'm like, oh, so it's hard. Shrinking was on there. The one big shout out, it almost made the list, and I'm like, Julia season 2 on HBO. That is my warm blanket show. Like, I love Ted Lasso, I love Shrinking. Those were nice warm blankets, but Julia just is a little bit warmer of a blanket for me. I think it's the cooking thing and the creative thing, and like in a tough environment that kind of just strikes home. I feel it. I think it's so cool.
You mean like Shrinking, like tough environment, like losing your wife? That's not tough.
No, I'm talking about like people saying this beef is too tough. You need to recook it, and you're like, shit. You got to recalibrate your ovens.
Oh, kind of tough. You mean like world shattering?
Yes.
Fuck out of here.
World peace bringing.
Oh, you know what? Really tough in the kitchen.
Shout outs to also Ahsoka was impressive this year. It wasn't like amazing, but I mean, for what it was and where I see like Star Wars going, like it gave like me big hope that this is going to be like, if they keep moving in this direction, very good. I'm like, great. You know, Andor, between Andor and this, that gives me a ton of hope for the future of Star Wars if they pull it off.
Going back to letdown, Mandalorian was a letdown.
Yeah, there is stuff that I liked, but overall, it was kind of like, what is this? Diplomat, that was a great show. If you haven't seen Diplomat, that's that ranked high, but it wasn't. It didn't hit as much as these ones did. These ones hit more emotionally. I think I was emotional.
You didn't have Special Ops. You didn't have the Lioness on there,
dude. I'm still going. I got Slow Horses. I got the Diplomat Barry. I would give it a shout out, but it just kind of, the time jumps killed it. I think it just kind of killed the momentum. It didn't. I don't know. It was tough. Shrinking and Soka. I think that's those are. Oh, and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn cracks me up. That's like my go-to hilarious. It's my hilarious warm blanket of inappropriateness. Like, don't ask what's happening underneath this blanket because it is inappropriate.
Yeah,
I like Harley Quinn.
Super Sucio. Yeah,
let's.
Sounds good.
Let's move on to our favorite episodes of the year. This will be a quick one. I think we're gonna have mostly overlap on this too. We'll go. How about 3-1? You want to go 3-1?
All right. My number 3 is the series finale dig of Reservoir Dogs, episode 10. I love this show. I love this episode too because it was a funeral episode, and that's how they ended the show. But it was really impactful and also uplifting. It was like a celebration and stuff. And it's so funny because they call them the elders. There was a scene with the elders, and there's these Native American actors that we've all seen in different things. They always play the same, Native American characters, and now they have them in one. It was like, imagine getting, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Tom Hanks and whatever of our world into one scene, and they did it with their Native American actors. They've been around 30 years. Like, you see them, you're like, oh, I've seen that guy in this, I've seen that guy in that.
Yeah.
But it's always these small roles, like the chief or this or that, stereotypical roles. And in this episode, it was kind of like they were just being them. You know what I'm saying? And it was like them being friends from childhood and being together in a scene as adults, as the elders. It was great.
What was I love that. Chris Rock has that joke. It's like, you ain't never seen 5 Indians together.
Oh man,
the hardships and all that they've been through. It's terrible. But I'm like, damn, that kind of reminds me of that. So it's kind of nice.
It was great. Yeah. What do you got number 3?
My number 3 pick for episode of the year. And again, these were tough. I chose 3 different shows, and I chose an episode from each. And this one, man, I had to go through the emotion. Do I want the emotion or do I want the more action? It's an episode of Blue Eye Samurai. And I'm going to go with episode 6, All Evil Dreams and Angry Words, I think is the name of this one. It's the one where she has to raid the castle, and she has to go from the bottom of the castle to the top. And each level is just a level of fucking hell. And she just keeps going, and it's runs like the bride. It just does not stop and just keeps to resolve. And you're just like, and every episode, every area is unique and different, and she has to like fight her way through it. And you're like, this is unexpectedly awesome. It opens up with a Metallica song. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's just a different level of like TV for like entertainment and feeling it. And you're like super rooting for, get to talking. And she's just getting just fucked up along the way, but she's just fighting her way through. And the animation, the action is so good and gorgeous. You're like, fuck, this is just crazy. This is crazy. I had another one for that. The one before was also a shout out, but that episode just got me. I'm like, this is like, it's just so damn. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen for this episode. So I had to give it number 2.
That was a great episode. I remember that one. All right. My number 2 is from the little show called Beef. And it's Figures of Light, when they're in the desert and they're like, they hate each other. And then, and then they, take what they eat that got them all high. Berries. And then, bro, that was so well done. It just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, am I high watching this shit? And it's like, they did a whole 360, like, like he is she and she is he, and they are there, like it's like transcendent, like they're one with the universe, they're one with themselves. Bro, it was amazing. It was like one of those things, like, I didn't know that could be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, they captured that shit on film or on video or whatever. They recorded it and they showed us, and it's like amazing. How do you write that? It's crazy.
Like the opening scene of these two people just like being shitty to each other in a parking lot. You're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then it goes this journey and it lands there. You're just like, what did I just experience?
Yeah.
Like that show is like, see, again, I could be convinced that that could knock off, that could make it my top 5. It's just, why not? I don't know. That show's amazing. And that sequence, I'm like, and the journey is so unexpected. And then when it goes there, it hits and sticks. Like that show's stuck. Oh man. But all right. My number 2, a little show called The Bear.
Oh,
this was so. Oh man, I went back and forth so much on this, and I think the one I had to go with Forks. I had to go with Richie's Journey because it just, you take this character that you kind of hate for almost the entire 1.5 seasons, and like, he's trying to find purpose, and that's the whole thing, is purpose. He has no purpose, he has no place. He sees the world moving forward without him, and he doesn't know how he fits into that world. And then this episode comes along and kind of upends that and gives him purpose, and we get to see that, and we're super rooting for him. And it was like, what? You know what I mean? And like at the end of it, you're like, that's my guy. You know what I mean? And it just hits. And then Olivia Colman shows up and he's talking to her, like that awesome scene. I'm like, what? That episode just hit. I don't know. I can't explain it. You're just like, unexpected, and like, damn, that was like an awesome to see this 180 journey of this character. And you're just like, damn. And then you see this character fucking 1 or 2 episodes later, he was stepped up when everyone else was starting to go down. He was stepping up, and like he found his purpose. And I loved it. Fishes was the other one, but I'm like, that show is so bananas. That show, like that episode, is like so like, oh, stressful, and like, oh, but I mean, it was amazing. But at the same time, it was like, if I had to choose to rewatch one of them, it'd definitely be Forks with Richie doing his thing.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That is my number 1. Bear Forks is my number 1. So yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And just like like the running theme of Forks and the whole, from beginning to end, you know what I'm saying? From the sister Sugar asking, like, are we gonna have enough forks? And he's like, yeah. And then in Fishes, the brother throwing the fucking forks.
Yeah.
And then this called the Forks. And then the last episode running out of forks. And it's like, dude, it was just like, that's like one of the many things that I'm sure are tied together. But yeah, like just seeing Richie like grow up and actually find the purpose that he was looking for. He was thirsty for it because he was so thirsty to belong. Like everybody had a role, and he was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And it was funny because you see the transformation from the beginning of the episode and him having to deal with some truths, you know what I'm saying? And even with the, I don't know, what would you call him, the maitre d' or whoever the guy was that was helping him? They're like, hey man, you're fucking it up for all of us. We love being here, and we do it out of, this and that. And like, you either fucking do this or whatever. You don't come back, But
that guy was a great cast and great written.
Yeah. So, man, seeing the transformation from, I wear suits now, that kind of guy. Yeah, it was great. And this dude, everything. He is amazing. He's a great actor.
And then he kind of started to win over his coworkers at that other new restaurant. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And you can see they all respected him, and they all want to keep in touch. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I hope there's a callback next season.
Yeah. And there was like and at the same time, he was going through the turmoil too, because he got that phone call from his ex, his baby's mom, about the guy proposing to her. And he's like, being the bigger man, he's like, that's great, man. I love you. But that shit broke his heart, because I think at the end of the day, when you're going through something like that, you kind of like, maybe you want to, at the end up with, whoever you love or whatever, And
they do the flashback episode, the one right before that, where you see him happy, like in happy times with his wife. And you're like, wow, this is like a different Richie at this point. And you see like, he's had a big journey from like there to his lows and to his highs now. You're like, shit. Like, impressive. Love it. Yeah, number 1 show of the year.
Yeah. And what's your number one now?
My number one episode? No big surprise. What is the episode? A Long, Long Time. Last of Us, episode 3. That episode like gets me every time. Like, jeez, like watch the first 2 episodes, it's all survival, crazy explosion, like, oh my god, run. And then it like this episode opens and then it takes a left turn and you're in a totally different place for like an hour or whatever with these characters you've never met before. And like by the end of that episode, you're like, your heart's like little, you're feeling it. You're like, in 1 hour, 1 episode, like the amount of like character development, like beginning, middle, end, like of a journey, you're just like, what? And it's fairly entertaining when you're watching this dude. You're like, you feel this guy. You know what I mean? It's like, I never would have guessed. Like that episode just gets me. I'm like, damn, that's how you tell a story in like in a contained bit and to have it hit. And I'm like, fuck, that was good. Like we watched the episode probably like 3 times now too.
Yeah. Who knew Nick Offerman had that in him, huh?
Seriously. I think he's going to win some awards. And the other dude from The White Lotus, season 1, also fantastic actor. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. And then, dude, I just saw Nick Offerman in a trailer for something. Damn. He did not look like a good person.
It was Civil War.
Oh, he's a president. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we did it in the year episode. It was great doing the show with you all year, even though sometimes I just see your face and I want to punch it. But thank God we're not in the same room because, you know, you'd have a fat lip. But anyways,
I love you.
Hold on. I was going somewhere sweet. I was going to say I love you.
Go ahead, sweet boy.
I was like, I love you, Andres. And it's great doing the show with you.
I love you too.
And looking forward to doing the next year.
Yeah. The show will probably be out next year, though. I don't think we're going to have any time for New Year's.
Yeah.
Dan, I think what we're going to have to do next episode is things that we're looking forward to for the year. I think we're going to have to get into that.
Yeah. We should do it in like resolutions. I promise not to
quit a show. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Or put up Rebecca Ferguson for triple MVP. All right, man. Well, I think that's the end of the show. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
This is the last episode of the year. Right now it's time for you to say your dumb stuff. Dumb stuff. You good?
I got nothing.
All right.
I feel good.
You got nothing. List. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. I won again. He lost. It's okay. Let him know.
The fucking checks in the mail, son.
Thank you for everybody for listening and putting up with us. And we look forward to doing this next year. And please like and subscribe, share with other people, and let them know that we're funny.
If you have questions, fire away.
Yeah, please do. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. All right. That's the show. I'm Francisco.
And I'm Andres.
Have a great week. See you next year. 2 nerds, 1 pod. Vámonos. Let's go. Put on the list.